morning and welcome back to Rise and Shine. I'm Maddie Haynes.
And I'm Eliza Haig. The weather's finally starting to warm up here on UNC's campus, and with extra heat comes a bigger risk for drought. Our resident weatherman, Wayne Johnson, has more.
Thanks, Eliza. Yes, we're finally starting to warm up. Later on in the show, I'll talk you through why we've been a little bit cooler recently and how we're going to warm up, as well as the drought that's coming with these dry, warmer conditions and the burn ban that's in effect just because of this drought that was issued a few weeks ago. Stay tuned for that, and back to you guys.
Thanks, Wayne. We'll hear all about that later. But now to the biggest headline on campus. The UNC men's basketball head coach search has come to an end. The university announced Monday the hiring of Michael Malone to replace former coach Hubert Davis. Sports Extra reporter Cooper Malloy is here to discuss what Malone's steps might be. Cooper?
Thanks, guys. It's exciting times in Chapel Hill. Former NBA champion head coach is now the head coach of the UNC Tar Heels. But what should his first objectives be? I have a few ideas for him. The head coach of the UNC Tar Heels. But what should his first objectives be? I have a few ideas for him. First off, retain the five-star commits, Dylan Mingo and Maximo Adams, committed to the university when it was head coached by Hubert Davis. So Malone has some work to do there to get to know these young men even better. And then secondly, going after Caden Mingo. Caden Mingo can help retain Dylan Mingo, but is also an offensive weapon himself. Averaged 13.7 points per game with Penn State last season and has entered the transfer portal as of yesterday. And who wouldn't want to see a brotherly duo in college basketball? And moving forward, we're going to look inward. We have Derek Dixon and Henry Vasar. Dixon entered the transfer portal a few days ago, and Henry Vasar is yet to declare for the NBA draft. Dixon would be huge to keep to strengthen our point guard position. And Henry Vasar, one of our best players last season, coming from Arizona 2 seasons ago, had an absolute pop-off year. And I think he's going to be really intrigued to stay with Coach Malone and the Tar Heels because of Malone's experience with European bigs. He coached 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic with the Denver Nuggets. So if he wants to learn if Vasar wants to learn a thing or two about how to be coached or how to play in the NBA and at a professional level as a European big man, he could learn that from Coach Malone at Chapel Hill. And moving on, we have Chuck Martin. Coach Malone needs to hammer this guy down. He had a top 5 recruiting class for Arkansas last season, and we want to see that in Chapel Hill going forward. But let's take it to the street to see what UNC students think Malone should do first.
Thanks, guys. The word on the street today is Mike Malone. We're going to go ask some students what they think his first order of business should be.
I think you should definitely focus on recruiting and making sure that we keep Maximo and Mingo should be the first priority, and then also just getting in the transfer portal and acclimating himself to the transfer portal and making sure we can get some high-level recruits.
Coming in and saying we're going to be a defensive-minded team and just play Carolina-style basketball, and you know, I think he's just got to come in and do what he's done in the NBA and do the same thing here.
I think getting a good roster. I mean, half of the players entered the transfer portal yesterday, so good luck.
Good luck is right. It will be exciting to see what Malone and the Heels can pull off this offseason. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you so much, Cooper and Lindley. You know what, Maddie? I think I know someone who would be really interested to see what Malone does next. Sports Extra reporter Reed Whitegold got to the chance to spend some time with one of UNC's biggest superfans. Let's take a look.
You may think the biggest Carolina fan lives in Chapel Hill, the Triangle, or at least somewhere in the state. Well, Michael Weiss lives in New York City. That hasn't stopped him from being at every Tar Heel game he can.
There's no experience like actually being there, getting to support the teams, getting to feel the energy of the stadiums. And when I was able to make it happen, I kind of just took advantage of that and used my vacation days to start coming down here as often as I could.
Weiss has been flying between NYC and RDU every weekend for the past 3 years. His motivation?
Everybody I meet, coaches, the staff, the people, the athletes, they're better people than they are athletes. And to root for them not only when they're in school, but their success after school is really cool, and be part of something that's kind of bigger than yourself and really part of a community. It's like kind of having an extended family.
Well, one of my favorite things about him...
Weiss grew up a Carolina fan, despite never setting foot in the state until his freshman year of college at UNC. Now, 20 years after graduation, he's looking forward to calling Chapel Hill home.
Actually, New York is not my favorite place. It's kind of means to an end. I love what I do. I'm very blessed to have the job that I do. But, you know, I use it really as a way to get back to Chapel Hill. My goal is to retire here.
Here we go, Hill!
Every weekend, he'll be at a different array of events. For instance, women's gymnastics, lacrosse, and baseball, all in the span of 24 hours. Weiss can be tough to pin down to one sport, but whatever game he's at, you best believe he's in his lucky seat. I'm Reed Weichel, reporting.
Now, I've always considered myself a UNC basketball fan, but I don't know if I'm at that level just yet. I hope to be once I graduate.
Definitely. I was definitely born a Tar Heel, but I guess I'll just have to see how my commitment lasts after I graduate.
For sure. Well, now as the weather begins to warm up and plants start to bloom, the nonprofit Happy wants to be there to help you bloom. Happy stands for Hugs and Pups Posse, encouraging and empowering, and you can usually find them outside of Wilson Library doing exactly that. Their group usually consists of 2 volunteers with their dogs, ready to talk or just give you a hug. They were founded after the campus faced multiple tragedies in 2022, with the goal of being a place where students feel seen and loved. Since then, they have tried to continue to spread this message. We were able to speak with Belinda Woodward, one of the executive board members, about what this organization means to her.
Happy is here, and we're going to stay here for as long as we can because we do care about the Carolina community a lot, and we want them to feel like we really want students to feel like they have someone.
We apologize for those technical difficulties, but you can find Happy on campus Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays.
And as we enter final season, stress is definitely in the air. UNC Counseling and Psychological Services Director Avery Cook recommends you to keep up with the basics. Make sure you're eating and sleeping, and make time for friends. Also, find your personal de-stressor, whether that's exercise, music, or meditation. And if you experience test anxiety, find a grounding technique, such as focusing on an object in the room or breathing exercises.
So folks can call our main number anytime, day or night, and speak directly with a therapist, which means even during those late night study sessions, if you're feeling particularly anxious or worried, you need to talk to someone, that someone's available.
Today from 12:30 to 3 p.m. at Rams Head Plaza, Healthy Heels is hosting a mini golf event so students can swing their stress away. They will also be serving calming teas and have an affirmation station.
Well, if you're looking for another thing to do on campus, the Tar Heel 10-miler is returning to Chapel Hill next Saturday, bringing together thousands from across campus and the Chapel Hill Carrboro community. For the first time runners, though, staying motivated through a 10-mile training can be hard. And this year, Gabrielle Laughlin is facing this challenge and shares what's kept her going leading up to the race.
I think for the most part, my friends that I run with, and then also, I don't think there's any feeling that beats the feeling after finishing a run. And so that's what gets me through it, because I always feel better after the fact.
Many runners will be looking for this same type of motivation come race day in 2 weeks. And for runners like Gabriella, all the training will be worth it when they cross that finish line.
So,
now on to
So the weather for running may not be ideal just yet, but we're gonna have a warm up. But today though, if you woke up and you were like, it's freezing outside, you're right. We had a frost advisory last night. We're only at about 40 degrees right now. We're gonna start pushing up into the 60s today. We're gonna see this temperature change. This morning, it felt like Stockholm, but we're gonna warm up into the mid to upper 60s by midday. It's gonna start feeling more like LA. We've had this air coming from the north that's been blocked by the Appalachian Mountains, keeping specifically us here in North Carolina and Virginia pretty cold, but also pretty dry, as we're in drought conditions right now across the entire state of North Carolina. Most of us are in level 2 severe drought, but we're starting to see pockets of extreme drought, and that's led to fire weather and chances of fire across the state. Particularly right now, we're eyeing 3 wildfires that have burned 149 acres down in the southeastern coastal plains, but the chance for fire weather has been there. And as we're looking at the potential moving forward, that potential's still there. We're at a high risk pretty much all throughout the Piedmont and into western North Carolina, far western North Carolina. There's actually very high chances of fire. So if you're like, what can I do? I'm trying to help prevent fires. stick with the burn ban that was offered by local officials. At least on a statewide level, no open burns are permitted within or further than 100 feet from an occupied building. And if you are burning anything within 100 feet, please be conscious of where you are burning and how you are disposing and putting out said fire. And as we look at the forecast moving forward, the temperature change, it feels like we're flying intercontinental, but it's gonna stay dry and offer us a potential for fire weather. Today into tomorrow, we're gonna start getting in the 70s, but as we head into the weekend and early next week, we're gonna be back up into the 80s, sunny every day, no more rain, so unfortunately drought is gonna continue, but it'll feel really nice and warm for us.
Thanks, Wayne. And speaking of this nice weather coming in, there's not going to be anything better in spring than spending the time outside in the sun. For many locals, that includes a trip to the Carrboro Farmers Market Saturday morning. But did you know that it's also open on Wednesday nights? From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. every Wednesday afternoon, you'll find exclusive vendors, live music, and smaller crowds. And we spoke to one vendor who you won't find Saturday morning. You can find over 50 other vendors at the market and look out for exclusive events such as the Strawberry Jamboree coming up on May 2nd. For more information, you can visit the website at CarrboroFarmersMarket.com. Spring is a great time to get all of that fresh fruit and veggies, but if your weeks are starting to look swamped, the farmers market is open Saturdays from 7 to 12.
If you're looking to support local artisans, the Carrboro Bazaar is this Sunday. Located in the Carrboro Town Commons from noon to 5 p.m., vendors will sell artwork, food, clothes, and even homemade sauces. The organizers at the market, Duncan and Meg Morgan, say that the bazaar is a labor of love.
I think people are going to be lucky to buy their stuff. Like, it's that good. And I think about the time people put into it, and it's still shocking that, you know, it's affordable.
If shopping local strikes your fancy, the bazaar opens this Sunday at noon. Well, now as the semester starts to wrap up, you might find yourself in a bit of a pickle when it comes to getting in your CLE credits. Our Jordan Houston is in studio to tell you where to find events coming up. Jordan?
Thank you so much, Eliza. Spring is in full swing, and there are plenty of CLE credit opportunities out there. Here's your CLE forecast through the end of the week. Tonight, I'd recommend checking out the First Gen Mixer over in Graham Memorial. Not only do you get CLE credit, but there'll be free food, and it's a good opportunity to meet others from similar backgrounds. Tomorrow afternoon, put on your protective gear and join the Carolina Beekeeping Club for their Beginner Beekeeper Hive Tour. As the title implies, the event is beginner friendly, so no worries if you don't know much about bees. You might need to worry about getting stung instead. Then, on Saturday or Sunday, head over to Hill Hall to see the opera. And tonight through Saturday, the Department of Romance Studies is hosting a film festival. Head over to Toy Lounge in Day Hall for a weekend full of movies, discussions, and once again, free food. Check out these events now so that you aren't scrambling for CLE credits at the end of the semester. There's only 2.5 weeks until LDOC. Time is ticking. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you so much, Jordan. I love to hear about free food. If you've grown tired of all the sunny weather we've been having, check out the starry skies over at Moorhead Planetarium. Established by John Motley Moorhead in 1949, Moorhead Planetarium and Science Center was the first planetarium on university campus. A few years later, astronauts trained there to learn how to navigate in space. Today, the planetarium welcomes visitors to learn more about science through their planetarium shows, exhibits, labs, and science demos, and of course, the gift shop. Though the planetarium is closed Monday through Thursday, there are many scheduled shows and demonstrations for visitors to enjoy over the weekend. For example, you can catch their Carolina Skies show on Saturdays and Sundays from 4:30 to 5. If you want to learn more, check it out at moorheadplanetarium.org.
And also, if you're a fan of Pitch Perfect or a cappella in general, then you will want to be in Chapel Hill this weekend. UNC is home to 9 a cappella groups, 5 of which are having their final concerts of the year this weekend. Each group is different, with some groups of only men, others with women, and some with mixed voices. However, one thing they have in common is that they sing and perform songs without any instruments. All of the groups have been hard at work this week, practicing more than 3 hours every day for their final shows this weekend. Both the groups, the Walk-Ons and the Psalms 100, will be performing on Friday. They will be followed by the Tarpeggios and Accordance on Saturday. And to round it all out, Cadence will be performing on Sunday. So if you're interested in attending one of the shows, you can find the ticket links on their respective Instagram pages. And now, as a special extra treat, we're ending our show today with some tunes courtesy of Cadence Acapella.
Thank you so much for spending your morning with us. We'll see you next time on Rise and Shine.